this is the one we put a lot of stock in, so we'll take you through time. Here we are Thursday. What has happened, though, is the timeline has backed up just a little bit. So now we're into Thursday, really moving over the Bahamas. Then we get into Friday, and what the European does is actually brings the center of the storm very close to, if not on shore, of the east coast of Florida. Then we move farther into time, and you can see Saturday, those surface winds still over, at least the circulation over Florida. Again, this is just one model, but this is one that we put a lot of stock in. Then, as we get into Saturday afternoon and evening, then we think it could be right off of our coast with those winds throwing a lot of water our way, in addition to the fact we're going to see a lot of rain. And then by Sunday, it starts to pull out to sea the way it looks right now, and that continues all the way into Monday. Here are the computer models. This is kind of the compilation, the spaghetti models we call it, and most of them are really locked into that solution, hugging Florida and then moving in towards Georgia and the Carolinas before it bends off. I know you see some of the models bending off a little earlier. I think those might be just a little bit overdone, and with that in mind, the Hurricane Center is basically telling us that as we get into Friday afternoon all the way to Saturday afternoon, that storm will make its way just off of our coast. And if you've been following along, you notice that it was really going to be north of us early on Saturday, about 8 a.m., so the timeline is now backed up. That may not happen until, let's say, Saturday afternoon. So as far as impacts for us, generally late Thursday all the way through Saturday, that appears to be the timeline that we could see some impacts. Could be prolonged impacts. Well, as we showed you last night, this trough, which is moving across the United States, it's not going to get here in time to kick this thing out any sooner, so it is going to hug the coast. Eventually it's going to get into place, and then you'll see it start to pull away as we get into late weekend and into early next week. As far as the tropical storm force winds, yes, the probability is very high. In fact, right now we're in the 80-90 percentile that we will see tropical storm force winds, and these could be prolonged. As far as force winds, this is a little more difficult to predict, but our probabilities are still in the 10 to 20% range right now. So as we go inside the storm, we've got to dissect it for you because this is very important, and especially the tropical storm force winds. So you can roughly be 160 miles northeast of the center or 120 miles northwest and still feel those winds. So that's why this could be a prolonged event. Even though the center of the storm could be south of us, we certainly could see the impacts from that, in addition to the rain. Here's your 7-day forecast. We're at 79 for tomorrow. Then those scattered showers and thunderstorms and the wind starting to pick up, especially as we get into late Friday and late Thursday, then Friday and Saturday. And those chances for rain are fairly high. We could see some substantial rainfall totals. 79 at the beach. It's going to be windy as we get into late week and into the early portion of the weekend. We'll keep you updated on news, too. We'll also keep you updated on the air, our radio network, including Z93 Jam. So it's a storm. It's headed this way. We're going to see the impacts. There'll be some twists and turns in that track here in the next 24 to 48 hours. So our impacts could change based on that.
There's just nothing in its way right now.
No, and I think it's going to maintain its energy as a Category 4 hurricane all the way up the coast of Florida.
Yeah, Rob, a lot of people wanting to get your personal perspective. Right. I mean, certainly the Low Country's chief meteorologist, and you're generally very cautious in your approach to things. So people are paying very close attention when you say, move, go, evacuate, get out.
And I think that I'm always a big fan of err on the side of caution. And this is too big of a storm to ignore. Could we see the worst harm? Possibly, but I think more likely some of the indirect impacts. But that's enough because it is going to be prolonged to tell people they might need to think about having a plan and leaving.
Yeah. All right, Rob. Thank you. Of course, we'll continue to follow you very closely.
Coming up next on News 2 at 5 o'clock, the iPhone 7.